Hello, ladies and gents. Hagbard Celine here on this beautiful Saturday afternoon, and I'm watching a clip from last week from Bill Maher. It starts out okay. Bill's trying to make some decent points. I don't always agree with him, but in this particular instance, he appears to be doing fairly well. However, then, the Canadian harpe in the pink opens her mouth, and Canada, being the super liberal country that it is now, has decided that it's fine. Just let everyone in, never question anything, it's cool. All the refugees are welcome, and it's our duty as the West to let these people in. Let's watch this conversation slowly slide downhill, shall we?
That there's a difference between American Muslims and their experience and Muslims around the world. I think, we here in the West experience occasional terrorism.
Sure, if by the West you only mean America and far Western Europe, because Eastern Europe and the portions of the Middle East and North Africa that were previously under Western power would probably beg to differ.
As bad as it is. Mm-hmm. Muslims around the world experience everyday terrorism. Yes. I'm talking about the wife whose husband can beat her with impunity, the gay person who, if he comes out, will be put to death, the maid who can be raped with impunity, the intellectuals in the Muslim world who would like to speak out, but they see bloggers getting killed, or the artists who would like to paint what they want and they can't. Mm-hmm. I don't know why liberals can't stand up for those people. Those are the Muslims on whose side you should be.
Well, certainly I support those that are part of the Reformation movement within the Islamic world. However, all those things you listed are transferable cultural ideologies that will travel with these people when they come into the West, unless we tell them it's unacceptable.
They're the ones who are being punished by radical Islam, which is what this is. And it's important to understand that.
It's important to understand that. But that's why it's important to be supportive of the Syrian refugees.
Yeah, that's right, honey. Just out-shrill him. That's what you're good at. But aside from that, I really hate that people keep referring to these people as the Syrian refugees when only a fraction of them even come from Syria.
The best way to be supportive of the Syrian refugees is to kill the people who are killing them and let them go back home.
And by the way, the only way ISIS is going to be defeated ultimately is by a Muslim army.
I agree, but the problem is that a Muslim army is hesitant to engage with another Muslim army without being able to psychologically convince themselves that that other army is not really Muslim. That's what ISIS is doing. That's why they're so successful. They've explained that they represent the true Islam, which is what all these people are waiting for.
Yeah, I agree with that. But let's not
I strongly agree with that.
No, I saw this today in the news on TV. 56% of Americans believe that the Syrian refugees have odds that are at values their values are at odds with our values. That may not be wrong.
That's an extremely polite way to say dead fucking right.
If you are in this religion, you probably do have values that are at odds. This is what liberals don't want to recognize.
Yeah, and that's not at all going to be exemplified simultaneously by this derpy face she made when you started talking about it, and her completely over-the-top and hysterical reaction.
You may be from a country, as there are many, many Muslim countries that either have Sharia law or want Sharia law. Those values are not our values. Can I read what David Cameron said? He's the Prime Minister of Britain, as we know. He said, the root cause of the threat we face is the extremist ideology itself. Let's not forget our strongest weapon, our own liberal values. We believe in respecting different faiths, but also expecting these faiths to support the British way of life. Too often we have lacked the confidence to enforce our values for fear of causing offense. And then he talks about the horrors of forced marriage. He talks about how the utter brutality of female genital mutilation is too common in his country, nearly 4,000 cases, and that's just the reported cases, 11,000 cases of honor-based violence. I'm not saying this is going to happen in America, but this idea that somehow we do share values, that all religions are alike, is bullshit. And we need to call it bullshit.
Prepare yourselves for the pink volcano to explode, 'cause here she comes.
No, actually strongly disagree with that, Bill. I think that it is incredibly important, particularly now after the Paris attacks, particularly now with ISIL raging around the world, to stand up for real diversity and to say our diversity is our strength.
So
Oh, so just cultural suicide then. Okay.
keeping women as second-class citizens is just diversity?
I'm not saying that.
But you are saying
no,
that.
I'm
That's
not.
what it comes down to.
No, I'm not. What I'm saying is we in Canada are not going to say Muslims are worse than Christians or are worse than Jews or are
Not
worse
as
than
people.
atheists.
The ideas are worse.
No, and their culture is not worse. And we also appreciate that ISIL does not represent Muslims.
Fine, I will concede you that. ISIS is not all of Islam, but will you at least concede to me that some Muslims and the majority of Muslim nations represent Islam? Will you concede that? And will you concede that indeed their culture is not compatible with ours? Why would you even be arguing this, you ignorant coos?
And it's now more important than ever to say that and to stand up for diversity.
Look, there's 1.5 billion Muslims. Surely we can agree that there is a portion of them, a portion that does number in the millions. If you take these Pew polls on the popularity of ISIS,
if it's 1/10 of 1%, it's 1.6 million.
The point, in Turkey, it's 8%, and that's of a country of 75 million people. Let's assume that's the sake of argument. That's
So wait a second.
6 million
So
people.
you're saying
That's good.
8%?
8%
Of how many people?
Of 75 million.
I can't do math.
6.
Okay, 6 million people agree with ISIS, and you're telling me it's the same as our culture?
It's not, but she's gonna waffle around like a dumb cunt.
Our culture is a very diverse one, and I think now it is incredibly dangerous and very wrong to persecute Muslims and say there is something wrong with being a Muslim.
This is a leap.
Bill, I think Cameron's right. We've got to stand up for our values and not say that we're going to tolerate something that in our culture we don't accept. On the other hand...
There is no other hand. That is a full stop moment, sir.
One of the tricks, one of the things that ISIS is up to is to try to get us to clamp down on all Muslims regardless of who they are, where they are, and push them into the ISIS camp. I had a Muslim girl that was a foreign exchange student that lived in our house for a year, 4 years ago. She was the most peaceable soul in the world. She prayed 5 times a day. She didn't even know about September 11th, couldn't figure out why those guys would do such a thing. So I don't want to push her away.
But I don't...
No, fuck that. I hold the opposite view. If anything I say about your shitty little belief system is enough to drive you into the arms of terrorists, fucking go. You get what you deserve when you get there.
Yeah, I agree with
because
the
this is
Senator.
just an elite piety. But there's no difference between these two things.
No, and you're right about that.
But just think of what you're saying.
Are you guys saying the Muslim faith is by definition worse than other people's
No,
faith?
I'm saying that there's a difference between the radical...
The ideas. If 6 million people in a supposedly moderate country agree with ISIS, you know, I read this article recently. It was attacking me about my beliefs on such things. And they said, oh, Bill, you paint with too broad a brush. What about Indonesia, the moderate country of Indonesia, which most of it perhaps is? And then they went on to say only 18% believe in honor killings.
Yes.
Really? So 1 out of 5 people in the country that you're holding up as the moderate country believes if a woman is raped, we blame and kill her?
Okay.
And the problem with Islam is...
You spend most of your show pointing out the dumbness of Americans.
Oh, so what you're saying is, stay on topic, Bill. You're not allowed to criticize anything outside of America. We like it when you crush on America. We like it when you bash on the West. But don't ever criticize anything outside of that direct sphere of influence or racist and bigoted. Shut the fuck up, you dumb Canadian cunt. Go back to Canada and turn it into the shithole. Don't tell us how to run our country. You want to do a multiculturalist experiment, have fun, but count us the fuck out.
You know, if you look at opinion
dumbness
polls,
is a little different than...
No, seriously. I mean, it is very, very wrong to demonize a religion.
I'm not demonizing. I'm just reporting. You are making it a demonization.
Oh, Bill, don't you know that just reporting the facts as they are is considered racist and bigoted as long as you're offending the regressive left, like this dumb pink Canadian creature?
The challenge is, how do you take that 80% and have them squash the 18, the ideas
Exactly.
of the 18.
Okay, but think about
And you
what
don't do it by saying to them Muslims are bad.
But you're not saying
I'm
Muslims
not
are bad.
Right.
You are saying that.
We're saying the ideas need to be changed.
You're
And by
saying
the
their
way,
ideas are bad?
killing women for being raped, I would say, is a bad idea. I do. Hang me for it.
And we're going to close on Bill's completely well-earned mic drop moment where he showed her exactly what a regressive idiot she was. She is arguing for people that would essentially have her enslaved and married off to be property. She doesn't seem to realize that's what she's doing because she's been so deeply brainwashed by the damaged institutions she went to. This is what happens when you fuck up the college-level schools. This is what happens when it goes too far. You get dumb, empty-headed, anti-analytical people like this in positions of power. This is what's going to happen in America if we don't continue to argue against them. And I would just like to point out, I have literally spent my entire conscious life mocking and criticizing almost every religion on the face of the planet. And funny enough, it wasn't until I got to Islam that anyone seemed to have a problem with it. So guess what? I'm taking the advice of my genius predecessors. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find out who's in power by finding out who I can't make fun of. And if I can't make fun of Islam, I'm going to do it twice as often as humanly possible, just for that reason. And I need no other reason. If I feel like mocking your belief system or saying that your belief system leads to poor behavior, that is my choice and my freedom as a Westerner. Try and take that from me. And on that note, I leave all of you lovely people until Monday, when I will be posting my next video, another one on feminism. I hope you've all enjoyed, and I'd like to cap this off by thanking all of my flood of new subscribers and the people that helped me get them. Namely people like Skeptor and Goodfella. They helped out a lot there, and I have a special follower that I'd like to call out. I'm going to pronounce it with the French accent of Robert Camus. Thanks for the assist there, buddy. I'll keep you in mind. I'll see you on Monday.